Bang! The elevator doors slam open, but no one walks in. Just empty, flickering light. A girl steps inside, Elisa Lam. She's alone, or so it seems. It's January 26th, 2013. A cold day in Los Angeles. Downtown buzzes with chaos, sirens, and the shuffle of the homeless on Skid Row. Amid this backdrop, a young Canadian student named Elisa Lam checks into the Cecil Hotel. She's 21, bright-eyed, eager to explore. She drags her suitcase across the lobby floor, her boots squeaking slightly with every step. To the hotel clerk, she seems friendly, quiet, a little shy. She signs in, asks a few questions, and heads up to the 5th floor. She's booked a shared room, budget traveler style, backpack, journal, camera. Elisa isn't rich, but she's curious, fearless, determined to see California, to make memories, to be free. She posts to Tumblr, quotes Chuck Palahniuk, talks about strangers on buses, coffee shops, LA's dirty beauty. Her digital diary is full of musings, lists, hopes. She writes, "I wish I could be as fearless as I pretend." Her parents, David and Yina Lam, weren't thrilled about the solo trip, but they understood. Their daughter was a creative spirit. She battled with depression and bipolar disorder, but she was managing, or so they thought. Fast forward 5 days. She's gone, vanished. No witnesses, no goodbye, not a single trace left behind. The hotel staff realizes something's off when housekeeping notices her bed hasn't been slept in. Her suitcase is still there, her wallet, her toiletries, but no Elisa. The last time anyone saw her was on January 31st. She didn't call her parents that day. She always did, every day of the trip, but that Thursday, nothing. Her parents panic. They contact LAPD, then fly down from Vancouver themselves. The LAPD begins a basic investigation. Missing persons flyers go up. Detectives question staff. Guests, no one remembers anything unusual, but something is wrong, deeply wrong. Then asterisk boom star. February 14th, LAPD releases something to the public. The elevator video. It's grainy, low resolution, no sound, but what it shows shocks the world. Elisa enters the elevator, looks over her shoulder, presses multiple buttons. Then she waits, but the elevator doesn't move. She steps out, peeks both ways down the hall. Her movements are odd, sharp, skittish. She gets back in, hides in the corner, then steps out again. Her hands start making strange gestures, as if she's communicating, or casting a spell, or warding something off. Her facial expression shifts from confused to terrified to calm, then terrified again. She steps out one last time, walks away, and the elevator stays open the entire time. The video goes viral. Reddit explodes. YouTube floods with breakdowns, frame-by-frame analysis. TikTok stitches her every move. Some say she's on drugs. Others insist she's hiding from someone. A stalker? A killer? And then there are the supernatural theorists. They say she's possessed, cursed, that the elevator is a portal, that Elisa encountered something otherworldly. Millions watch, millions speculate, but none of them know the girl. Elisa was more than that video. She was a writer, a dreamer, a girl who loved bookstores, random strangers, and secondhand clothes. She struggled, yes, but she also laughed. She fought. She wanted to live. Her Tumblr blog, Nouvelle Nouveau, is still online. In her own words, she's introspective, self-aware, fragile. She openly discusses her mental health struggles, posts photos of cities she dreams of, musicians she adores, books she devours. She once wrote, "I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm trying." That should count for something, right? In the days leading up to her disappearance, Elisa visited the last bookstore downtown. She wandered Skid Row. She took photos of art installations and buildings. She even posted reviews of the places she visited. A manager at the bookstore remembers her. Quirky, kind, but spaced out, like she was somewhere else. By January 29th, she was moved out of the shared room. Her roommates had complained about strange behavior. They say she was locking herself in the bathroom for long periods, talking to herself, paranoid. Management moved her to a private room. That's the last confirmed sighting of her alive. The days tick by. Her parents grow desperate. The LAPD search a room. They search the hallways. They bring in dogs. But nothing turns up. The case grows colder. Then the guests start complaining about the water. It's dark, murky, low pressure. Tastes weird. Maintenance is called. A worker climbs to the roof, checks the massive water tanks. And that's where they find her. Floating, naked, lifeless, face up. Elisa Lam. Her clothes are found at the bottom of the tank. Her watch still ticking. Her hotel key nearby. No one knows how she got there. Or why. No camera footage. No witnesses. The rooftop door is supposed to be locked. Alarmed. Yet somehow she got through. The lid of the tank? Closed. It doesn't make sense. Her parents collapse in grief. The world watches in horror. And the mystery of Elisa Lam only deepens. A girl full of dreams. Swallowed by the darkness. Still unanswered. Still haunting. Ding. The elevator doors open once more. But Elisa's not there. Just the shadow of a question no one can answer. And the story of the girl who vanished begins. Downtown Los Angeles. Skid Row. 640 South Main Street. That's where Elisa Lam checked in. The name? The Cecil Hotel. To most, it's just an old budget spot in the city. To others, it's cursed. Seriously cursed. This place isn't just another building. It's a black hole for tragedy. And when Elisa walked through those front doors, she was walking into a haunted history. A hotel built on death. Let's rewind. The year is 1924. The roaring 20s. The Cecil is brand new. Marble lobby. Stained glass. It's supposed to be a jewel of LA. But then the crash. 1929 hits. The glamour fades. The money dries up. And the hotel? It spirals into darkness. From five-star dreams to drug dens. From a tourist stop to a crime scene. Literally. By the 1930s, people are jumping from windows. By the 1940s, it's nicknamed the Suicide Hotel. People die there. Again, and again, and again. And it doesn't stop. The body count grows. Room 873. Room 412. Room 1002. It's hard to keep count. The deaths? Stacked high. Jumpers. Overdoses. Murders. One guest drank poison. Another slit her own throat. One woman gave birth in the bathtub and left the baby for dead. Real. Documented. Horrors. And no one stopped it. Because at the Cecil, death became part of the wallpaper. Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. Yeah, him. Richard Ramirez. One of America's most notorious serial killers, called the Cecil home in 1985. He'd murder women all night, then come back to the hotel, covered in blood. He'd strip off his clothes in the alley behind the building and walk barefoot through the lobby. No one questioned him. No one stopped him. They just looked away. Because at the Cecil, evil felt normal. Another killer checked in. Jack Unterweger. A journalist. A charmer. A man who convinced the world he was reformed. He was sent to LA to write about prostitution. He stayed at the Cecil. And during his stay, 3 sex workers were found strangled with their own bras. Jack was arrested, tried, convicted. Again, the place didn't reform him. It swallowed him. Ghost stories? Or something worse. Some say the Cecil is haunted. They talk about the woman in black seen on the upper floors. Or the man pacing the hallways at night, vanishing into walls. Elevators that stop on their own. Phones that ring in empty rooms. But this isn't just paranormal lore. Police officers, paramedics, even hotel staff, they've all reported the same thing. This place feels wrong. The hotel changes its name. Bad press? Too much baggage? In 2011, they rebrand. They split the building. The top floors are still the Cecil. But the bottom levels? They become Stay on Main. A trendy, budget-friendly spot for young travelers. Like Elisa Lam. Same building. Same elevators. Same rooftop. Just a new name slapped over the rot. Elisa didn't know the history. She booked a room through the internet, like anyone would. It was cheap, central, had decent reviews. She didn't know about the suicides, or the murders, or the fact that she was staying in the very hotel where Richard Ramirez lived while he killed. She just wanted to explore Los Angeles. And for the first few days, she did. Shopping, museums, bookstores, cafes. She posted on Tumblr, took photos, smiled. But the longer she stayed in the Cecil, the darker things got. Things started to unravel. She was supposed to share a room, a dorm-style setup, but the other girls complained, said she was acting strange, said she was erratic. Elisa got moved to a private room. That's the last time anyone officially saw her. Not on the street, not in the lobby, not in the gift shop. She just disappeared, and no one looked too hard, because at the Cecil, weird things happen all the time. People vanish. People die. So, when Elisa went missing, it was just another day. Until the video surfaced, until the water turned dark, until the tank was opened. The building breathes darkness. This wasn't coincidence. Not just bad luck. The Cecil Hotel has a pattern. It pulls people in, and not everyone walks back out. Elisa Lam's death wasn't the first mystery there, and it won't be the last. Because the hotel doesn't change. It just rebrands. A final twist of the knife? After Elisa died, tourists wanted in. People booked rooms just to say they'd stayed at the haunted hotel. They asked for the floor Elisa stayed on. They filmed YouTube videos, created TikToks, played ghost games in the elevator. Elisa became content. Clickbait, urban legend. But she was real. And the hotel that watched her vanish still stands, still open, still swallowing secrets. Elevator to nowhere. February 14th, 2013. Valentine's Day. But love isn't in the air. Not at the Cecil Hotel. Not in Los Angeles. Because something else is. Fear. The LAPD releases it. The infamous elevator video. It hits the internet like a thunderclap. YouTube, Reddit, news outlets. Everyone's watching it. Frame by frame. Obsessively. The footage is barely 4 minutes long. Grainy. Glitchy. No audio. But what it shows. Unreal. Elisa Lam steps into the elevator. Calm at first. She presses a row of buttons. Too many. Almost like she's panicking. The door doesn't close. She peeks out. Nothing. Then again. Still nothing. She hides in the corner. Jumps out. Back in. Hands moving like waves. Fluid. Strange. Some say she's gesturing to someone. Others say she's hallucinating. Then just like that, she walks away. The elevator stays open. Unmoving. Silent. Waiting. And that's it. Cut to black. The internet explodes. Theories fly. Theory 1. She's on drugs. Experts weigh in. Toxicologists speculate she's high. Meth? LSD? Ecstasy? But later, her toxicology report shows minimal traces. Nothing major. No alcohol. No illicit drugs. Ruled out. Theory 2. She's running from someone. A stalker? A killer? People slow the footage. Zoom in. Enhance shadows. There's someone hiding in the hallway. There's a shoe right there. She's avoiding someone just out of frame. But no other person is ever seen. Security footage from other angles? Gone. Either not recorded or mysteriously missing. Theory 3. Mental illness. Elisa had bipolar disorder. She blogged about it. Doctors confirm she was prescribed multiple medications. Wellbutrin, Lamictal, Seroquel, Effexor. But were they in her system? Not all of them. Her toxicology shows some meds present, but not at therapeutic levels. Meaning, maybe she stopped taking them. Or took less. Could she have been in a manic state? Disoriented? Paranoid? Psychotic? It's possible. Doctors say bipolar mania can lead to impulsive, erratic behavior. Even hallucinations. But even then, how did she get to the roof? Theory 4. The elevator was broken. Redditors go deep. They analyze the buttons she pressed. They mapped the elevator's response times. Turns out, she hit the door hole button. That could explain why the doors stayed open so long. Maybe it was a malfunction. Maybe not. But here's the kicker. How did she get on the roof? There are 4 ways up. The fire escape. Climb out a window. Risk your life. Climb several stories up an open metal staircase. Dangerous, but possible. The stairwell leads to the roof, but it's locked. Alarmed. No alarm went off. The elevator, but it doesn't go to the roof. Not without a key. Through staff access. Only hotel employees have that. So how? Did someone let her up? Or did she go alone somehow? And then there's the water tank. Let's talk logistics. The tank is 8 feet tall. Metal. Industrial. There's no ladder on the outside. You'd have to climb up the platform, balance on the rim, and lower yourself in. Inside, no steps, no grip, nothing to climb out with. And the lid? Originally reported to be closed when she was found. How? How does a 21-year-old girl, naked, disoriented, get in and close the lid behind her? Then the story shifts. The hotel says, wait, the lid was actually open when the maintenance guy found her. Backpedal. Now, people don't trust anything. Not the hotel. Not the cops. Not the autopsy. The autopsy. It comes back accidental drowning. No trauma. No sexual assault. No evidence of foul play. But people aren't buying it. Because too many things don't add up. The behavior. The elevator. The rooftop access. The tank. Even the timeline is hazy. Some speculate she died the same day she vanished, January 31st. But others suggest she may have survived for days. Alone. Trapped. Disoriented. Some believe she may have tried to hide in the tank. Escape something or someone. Others think she believed it was a safe place. A sanctuary. A hiding spot. But what if it wasn't her choice at all? Theory 5, murder. The idea won't die. Who had access to the roof? Why wasn't the hotel transparent about the doors? Why wasn't there better footage? Why were her clothes found in the tank separate? Why was the lid story changed? It reeks of cover-up. Some point fingers at a hotel worker. Others at a fellow guest. Still more at someone who knew the roof layout. But no arrests. No suspects. No answers. And then comes the weirdest theory yet. Theory 6, supernatural. The elevator game. A bizarre ritual originating from South Korea. The rules? Press buttons in a certain sequence. Ride to specific floors. Don't get out. Unless you see a mysterious woman enter. They say if you complete the ritual, you enter another world. One you may never return from. People claim Elisa was playing it. Did she summon something? Did she cross over? Sounds crazy until you see her movements in the video, her behavior. The elevator, like she's fighting to stay in one world while being pulled into another. Still, no hard evidence. Just chilling coincidences. So, what's the truth? Nobody knows. The elevator didn't just take her up. It became a symbol, a vortex, a digital ghost story. Millions still watch that video, haunted by her gestures, her silence, her vanishing. It's not just surveillance footage. It's a final message. One no one can decode. And that elevator? It goes nowhere. Just like the case. Red flags, regrets, and unanswered calls. Ring. No answer. David and Elisa Lam are pacing in their Vancouver apartment. It's February 1st, 2013. Their daughter hasn't called. Not even a text. That's not like her. Elisa always checked in. Every single day. Even if it was just a "Hi, Mom." But today, silence. That silence stretches into dread. They call the Cecil Hotel. No answer. They call the LAPD. No answers there either. So they pack their bags, board a plane, land in Los Angeles, and step into a nightmare. The LAPD starts slow. Too slow. At first, it's treated like just another missing person case. Flyers. A few interviews. Nothing urgent. Nothing special. But David knows something's wrong. Deeply wrong. He begs the police to search her room again. To look harder. He even hands out flyers on Skid Row himself. walking the same streets his daughter did. Past attics, tents, sirens, despair. And he asks everyone, "Have you seen my daughter? She's 21. She was staying at the Cecil." But most people don't even look up. Back at the hotel, there were warnings. Her roommates had already complained. Elisa had been acting strange. She was talking to herself, locking herself in the bathroom for hours, leaving weird notes on their beds. They felt unsafe. They told management, so the hotel moved her to a private room, alone. And that's when she vanished. But here's the question. If she was acting unstable, why didn't anyone intervene? Why wasn't she checking on? Why didn't the hotel alert someone? Mental health isn't a red flag for punishment, it's a call for help. And Elisa didn't get it. Then there's the elevator footage. You've seen it. Everyone has. But what you don't see. Security. Where were they? How did no one notice her behavior? Why was no one monitoring the lobby cams? Was there even a security team on site? Or was she just another guest in a forgotten hotel? That's what her family can't shake. That gut-wrenching thought. She needed help, and no one was there. The roof, the tank, the horror. When they find her, it's too late, and the questions just keep piling up. How did she get up there? Why was the alarm silent? Why didn't the dogs find her scent? They had K9 units search the hotel twice. They didn't sniff her out because she wasn't in the room. She was in the tank, above their heads, right there, rotting. David Lam breaks down. He says it on camera outside the Cecil. She was a good girl. She didn't deserve this. His voice shakes. His hands tremble. You can hear it, grief turned to rage. And underneath that, guilt. He let her go. Let her take that trip. Believed her when she said she'd be okay. And now, he's standing under the rooftop that swallowed her. So many could have helped. But they didn't. The hotel staff, the LAPD, even passersby. Everyone missed the signs. Maybe they weren't trained. Maybe they didn't care. Maybe she slipped through the cracks like so many do. But Elisa Lam wasn't a ghost. She wasn't a theory, or a meme, or a TikTok case file. She was a daughter, a student, a girl who wanted to see the world. And the world failed her. Ring. Still no answer. But now we know why. And the phone call her parents waited for will never come. February 1st, 2013. The phone is silent. Elisa Lam always called, always texted, every single day since landing in California. But now, nothing. Her parents, David and Yina Lam, sit in their Vancouver apartment staring at the screen, waiting, hoping, dreading. They call her cell. No answer. They call again. Voicemail. They send texts. No response. Something's wrong. They know it. A feeling in the gut. A parent's worst nightmare knocking. No one knows where she is. They call the Cecil Hotel. The line rings. Then rings again. Eventually, someone picks up. "Hi, our daughter is staying there. Elisa Lam." Silence. Then, "Sorry, we haven't seen her." The hotel can't or won't say more. So the Lambs call the LAPD. They report her missing. But to the police, it's just another case file. Just another adult who probably wandered off. David Lam flies to LA. He doesn't wait. He books a flight, lands in Los Angeles, heads straight for the hotel. He walks the same halls Elisa did, rides the same elevator, talks to staff, to guests, to anyone who'll listen. "Have you seen my daughter?" He passes out flyers, posters with her photo, long dark hair, gentle smile, black hoodie. People on Skid Row barely look up. But he keeps going, because he's a father. And he knows something's wrong. Her roommates knew first. Here's what they tell police. Elisa was acting off. She had been writing weird notes, scribbled messages like "go away" or "leave now," stuck to mirrors and beds. She would hide in the bathroom for hours. She spoke to herself, sometimes whispered, sometimes shouted. It scared them. They didn't feel safe. So they complained. And the hotel? They moved her to a private room, alone. A girl in crisis, ignored. Let's pause. Elisa was 21, thousands of miles from home, and clearly in distress. Why didn't the hotel call for help? Why didn't they contact her emergency contact? Why didn't anyone do something when she showed signs of mental crisis? Instead, they just moved her, closed the door, and walked away. A ticking clock started, and no one heard it. The police investigate, sort of. The LAPD interviews staff, checks security footage. Nothing strange. Until they review the elevator video, that changes everything. Now, the case isn't just a disappearance. It's bizarre. It's viral. It's terrifying. But here's the catch. That video, it wasn't released immediately. And when it was edited. Missing time stamps. Footage slowed down. A full minute erased. What are they hiding? And more importantly, why? K9 units. No scent. They bring in dogs. Trained to track human scent. They search the lobby. Her room. The hallways. The stairwells. Even the roof. Nothing. Not a trace. They say Elisa just vanished. But bodies don't just vanish. Someone missed something. Or someone is hiding something. David's worst fear becomes reality. Days pass. Then weeks. Flyers fade under the Los Angeles sun. Hope starts to rot. And then, February 19th, a maintenance worker climbs to the roof. He opens one of the water tanks and finds her, floating, naked, face down. The autopsy doesn't help. Cause of death? Accidental drowning. No bruises, no trauma, no alcohol, no illegal drugs. But her clothes? Missing. Her phone? Gone. Her room key? Gone. Her body was found in a locked tank with no ladder, no access. The hatch was too heavy for her to close alone. So, how did she get in? And why didn't anyone hear her? A system that failed. The LAPD didn't act fast enough. The hotel didn't intervene when she cried for help. No one protected her. And David? He was too late. He stood beneath the rooftop where his daughter was decomposing, where guests were drinking her remains, where her final moments were swallowed in silence. A father's heartbreak. David Lam speaks at the press conference. His voice cracks. She was a good girl, a good daughter. He doesn't yell. He doesn't scream. He just trembles. Because grief that deep doesn't make sound. This never should have happened. Elisa Lam didn't die because of some ghost story. She died because no one took her seriously. Because no one stopped to ask, "Are you okay?" She slipped through the cracks, ignored, dismissed, forgotten, until her body forced the world to look. But it was too late. Now she's a case file, a headline, a haunting. But she was so much more. A daughter, a sister, a student, a life worth saving. And that life was lost because no one answered. Not the hotel, not the police, not the world. And when the phone rang that night, there was only silence. February 19th, 2013. It starts with a complaint. The water pressure's low. Then another. The tap smells weird. Then a third. The color, it's black. Guests at the Cecil Hotel are freaking out. The water from the sink tastes off. The shower, running brown. One guest says, "I brush my teeth with that." Another, "I drank it." They don't know it yet, but they're drinking death. The maintenance worker goes up. Hotel staff send someone to the roof. There are 4 water tanks up there, each one big enough to drown in. He climbs the narrow steel ladder, pops the hatch on the furthest tank, and freezes. There's something inside. Someone, a girl, floating, face down, naked, bloated, rotting. It's Elisa Lam. The scene is pure nightmare. Her clothes? Sunk to the bottom. Her phone? Gone. Her hotel key? Gone. No ladder inside. No footholds. No explanation. The tank is 8 feet tall. Metal. Sealed. And Elisa Lam is inside. Dead. Decomposing in the water supply. For 19 days. The police arrive. Too late. The rooftop becomes a crime scene. But no one can make sense of it. There's no sign of trauma. No bruises. No cuts. No broken bones. The autopsy says accidental drowning. But that doesn't explain the how. It doesn't explain the why. It doesn't explain anything. The lid was closed. That's the part no one can understand. The tank lid? Closed when they found her, which means she couldn't have shut it behind her. It's heavy, awkward, nearly impossible from inside. So, did someone close it? Or was it never open? If she climbed in alone, why? If someone put her there, who? Theories erupt. Immediately, the internet catches fire. Suicide? Murder? Cover up? Some say she was being followed. Others blame her bipolar disorder. But none of it makes sense. Even if she was manic, how did she get up there? How did she remove her clothes? How did no one see? No cameras caught her on the roof. No alarms went off. It's like she disappeared, then reappeared, dead. Remember the dogs? 9 units searched the hotel. Twice. They sniffed the hallways, the stairwells, even the roof. They didn't catch her scent because they weren't looking up. She was already in the water, above everyone's heads, hidden in plain sight, while guests bathed, brushed their teeth, swallowed her remains. That's not metaphor. That's fact. Something was off from the start. Remember the elevator footage? Elisa pressing all the buttons, hiding in the corner, peeking out like someone was chasing her. She steps out, back in, then vanishes. The door never closes. People said, she's playing a game. Some said, she's hallucinating. But what if she was running from someone? Then why was the video edited? When the LAPD released the footage, it was weird. The timestamp was blurred. Seconds were missing. The video was slowed down. A full minute gone. Why? What was cut? What didn't they want us to see? No alcohol. No drugs. Nothing. The toxicology report comes back. No illegal substances. No alcohol. Just her prescribed medication. So, the theory that she was on something falls apart. She wasn't high. She wasn't drunk. She was just gone. The hotel stays quiet. After the discovery, the hotel gives no press conference, no apology, no refund. They drain the tank, scrub the system, and keep operating. Guests check out, new ones check in, and the rooftop? Locked again, as if it was never opened. The media goes wild. News stations run the footage 24/7. Everyone wants to know, how did she get in the tank? Why was she naked? Who closed the lid? And most importantly, why did no one help her? Why did it take dark water for the world to notice? The internet turns obsessed. Web sleuths pore over every second of the elevator video. They freeze frame, zoom, speculate. Some say she's playing the Korean elevator game, a supposed ritual to contact ghosts. Others claim she's possessed, that the hotel is haunted, that something otherworldly dragged her into the tank. Theories spiral, but facts? They stay buried. Her family is devastated. David and Elisa Lam return to Canada, with their daughter in an urn. No closure, no real answers, just heartbreak. They sue the hotel, but the case gets thrown out. The judge says, no evidence of negligence. But the world knows better, because the signs were there, and everyone missed them. Elisa's story becomes legend. She becomes an urban myth, a TikTok trend, a Netflix special. But behind the viral fame is something cold, cruel, and human. Neglect. Elisa needed help. She showed signs of mental distress. She acted strangely. And everyone around her, hotel staff, police, strangers, looked away. Dark water, dark truth. Elisa Lam didn't vanish into thin air. She drowned in a city that didn't care. In a hotel built on death. On a roof no one was supposed to reach. In water meant to be clean. The kind you drink. But that's the thing about darkness. It hides in plain sight. It flows quietly, just like water. The Cecil Hotel isn't just a hotel. It's a tomb, a monument to madness. And Elisa Lam? She's not the first ghost that walked through its halls. Not even close. Built on darkness. Downtown Los Angeles, the Cecil Hotel opens its doors. It's meant to be glamorous, grand, a jewel in the crown of the city's booming growth. But the glitz fades fast. The Great Depression hits. Crime rises. Homelessness swells. And the Cecil becomes a magnet for death. Murders, overdoses, suicides, room after room. body after body, like something pulls people in and never lets them leave. The list of death is long. Here's just a few. 1931, a guest poisons himself with capsules. 1934, another slits his own throat. 1937, a woman leaps from the ninth floor, lands on a passerby, kills them both. 1947, the Black Dahlia, Elizabeth Short, is allegedly seen drinking at the Cecil days before her body is found. 1962, a woman jumps out a window. On the way down, she takes a pedestrian with her. Death doesn't knock at the Cecil. It checks in. The night stalker stayed here. Richard Ramirez, the night stalker. In the mid-1980s, he stays at the Cecil while murdering people all over Los Angeles. He'd throw his bloody clothes into the dumpster behind the hotel, walk through the lobby barefoot, covered in filth, unbothered. No one stopped him. No one asked questions, because at the Cecil, strange is normal. Death is routine. The Austrian serial killer came too. Jack Unterweger. In 1991, he checks into the Cecil. Pretending to be a journalist, in reality, he's a monster. He strangles 3 women in L.A. with their own bras. The murders match ones he committed in Europe. Where did he stay back then? A hotel with a dark history, just like the Cecil. It's almost like he chose it. On purpose. The ghost stories never end. Guests report. Screams in the night. Shadow figures in the hall. Phones ringing with no one on the line. Lights flicker. Doors creak open. Elevators move on their own. Some say they've seen women in vintage dresses walking the halls and disappearing into walls. Others wake up with scratches on their arms. The air? Heavy. Dead. Wrong. People check in and feel something watching, something hungry. And then there's the suicide window. Room 928. It's earned a nickname, the window room, because people don't just fall from it. They jump, as if something calls them, pulls them toward the ledge. One man claimed he felt pushed. Another said he heard a voice say, "Fly?" just before he leapt. Coincidence? Or something more? The hotel's location is cursed too. The Cecil sits right next to Skid Row. Thousands of unhoused people live within a few blocks. Addiction, crime, desperation, the perfect storm for tragedy. But inside the Cecil, it's even worse. The walls are soaked in sadness. The carpet? Stained with stories no one wants to tell. The elevator? A time machine to nowhere. And the roof? A grave. People start calling it the Suicide Hotel. It's not just a nickname. It's a pattern. Death after death. No explanations. No answers. Just bodies. Just silence. Even employees say it. They tell new hires, don't go to the top floor. Don't answer knocks at night. Don't ask questions. That's how the Cecil survives. Not by solving mysteries, but by burying them. Elisa wasn't the first. She might not be the last. After her story goes viral, people start digging. Into hotel records, news clippings, police reports. They find dozens of deaths. Unsolved, untouched, forgotten. They find cover-ups, lazy investigations, missing files. They find a hotel that seems to swallow truth and spit out legends. What if Elisa walked into a story that already existed? What if she wasn't hunted? What if she wasn't hallucinating? What if the hotel wanted her? Sounds crazy, right? But so does this. A healthy 21-year-old vanishes into thin air, ends up dead in a sealed water tank. And no one sees a thing? Nothing about Elisa Lam's death makes sense. But everything about the Cecil Hotel feels wrong. A pattern we ignored. The signs were there. Decades of trauma. Ignored cries for help. A building that needed to be shut down, but never was. A city that turned a blind eye to the rot inside its walls. And in the middle of it all, a girl who just wanted to see the world. Who believed in travel. Who blogged her dreams. Who checked in and never checked out. The curse continues. Even after Elisa's death, the hotel's reputation doesn't fade. In 2017, they try to rebrand it as Stay on Main. But everyone knows what it really is. You can't scrub death from the walls. You can't erase ghosts with a new sign. And even when it's closed, like it is now, people still come. To stare. To take selfies. To wonder. To ask the same question Elisa's parents still ask. Why her? Maybe there is no answer. Maybe the Cecil doesn't give answers. Only tragedies. Only whispers. Only water that turns black. And silence where there should be screams. Maybe Elisa Lam's story isn't just a mystery. It's a warning. Because when you walk into a place soaked in darkness, sometimes it soaks into you too. One girl, one hotel, one grainy video. That's all it took. The internet exploded. Theories, timelines, frame-by-frame analysis. Millions watched. Everyone had an opinion. And suddenly, Elisa Lam became more than a missing person. She became a mystery, an obsession, a digital ghost. The video that started it all. February 13th, 2013. LAPD releases elevator footage of Elisa Lam. 2 minutes, 37 seconds. No sound, low res, blurry. But it's haunting. Elisa enters the elevator, looks out, looks in, presses a row of buttons, then acts strange. She hides in the corner, peeks into the hallway, waves her arms in odd, jerky motions. She looks scared, confused, or maybe possessed. Then she steps out and never comes back. The doors close, and the video ends. The viral tsunami. The internet goes wild. Reddit, YouTube, Tumblr, Twitter. What is she doing? Who is she hiding from? Why won't the elevator doors close? Everyone becomes an investigator. People slow the footage down, zoom in, enhance shadows. They map out floor plans, study button layouts. They compare it to horror movies, paranormal videos, glitch footage. They say it looks like a game, like she's following rules. Some whisper about the elevator game. A creepy ritual from Korea. A way to access another dimension. And if you do it wrong, you never come back. Just like Elisa, the dark side of crowdsourced sleuthing. At first, it's curiosity, a digital manhunt. But then, it turns ugly, dangerous. People accuse hotel staff, other guests, total strangers. A death metal singer from Mexico, Morbid, stayed at the Cecil in 2012. He posted creepy music, horror-themed videos. So, the internet pointed the finger. They said he killed Elisa, but he wasn't even in the country when she died. Didn't matter. He was doxxed, harassed, threatened. His life was destroyed because the internet wanted answers, even if they were wrong. Elisa's life isn't hers anymore. Her Tumblr gets discovered. Her posts, her poems, her dreams, her thoughts, raw, honest, heartbreaking. She writes about feeling lost, feeling pressure, feeling like she's fighting something invisible. The internet devours it. They read every line, screenshot every journal entry. People start diagnosing her, speculating. She was bipolar. She stopped her meds. She had a breakdown. Others say she was targeted, followed, possessed. Her life becomes content, a puzzle to be solved, even though she can't speak for herself. And then came the documentary. Netflix drops crime scene. The vanishing at the Cecil Hotel. Millions watch. Theories reignite. But something feels off. It's polished, stylized, entertaining. But Elisa? She becomes a character. A plot twist. A narrative device. Some viewers feel it humanizes her. Others say it just exploits her. Because by now, no one's talking about the girl. They're talking about the case, the drama, the clicks. The internet turned into a digital Cecil, a haunted place, where theories echo like footsteps in empty hallways, where people obsess over darkness, where facts warp, and tragedy becomes entertainment. The internet didn't solve the mystery. It became it. The line between truth and storytelling vanishes. People ask, was she killed? Was it suicide? Was it something paranormal? But the more they search, the less clear things get. The LAPD says no foul play. The autopsy says accidental drowning. But believers say, that tank was too high. The lid was closed. There's no way she did this alone. No one agrees. and no one moves on. Because the mystery feels bigger than the facts. She becomes a legend. Elisa Lam is now part of internet folklore. Like Slender Man, like the Black-Eyed Children. Only she was real, and that's the part that hurts. She was real. She had a family, a room, a blog, a laugh, a life. But now, she's a file, a thread, a case. Her parents watch it all unfold. David and Elisa Lam don't post. They don't go online much. They say very little. But they know what's out there. They see their daughter's name twisted, her face turned into thumbnails, her death turned into views. And they ask, why? Why couldn't she be remembered as she was? Why couldn't the world just say, she was lost, and we failed her? The internet never stops. Even now, people post new theories, new evidence, new walkthroughs of the Cecil, TikToks with creepy music and text overlays. Did you notice this? Rewatch the video at 047. They say, she's waving to a ghost. She's not alone. She's possessed. But the truth? Maybe no one knows. Maybe no one will know. And maybe that's what haunts us most. We needed to solve her. But why? Maybe it wasn't just curiosity. Maybe it was guilt. She was a young woman, alone, suffering, and no one helped her. So we created theories to distract ourselves, to make it feel like something else was responsible. Not us, not the world that ignored her, not the hotel that failed her, not the systems that didn't protect her. We point at ghosts because it's easier than looking in the mirror. Elisa Lam, the girl behind the screen, she wasn't a glitch. She wasn't a horror story. She wasn't a symbol. She was a person. She smiled. She cried. She wrote poetry. She had dreams. She loved books, photography, travel. She wanted to see the world. And for a brief moment, the world saw her back. But we didn't really see her. Not until it was too late. The final theory. Maybe it wasn't murder. Maybe it wasn't magic. Maybe it was a storm of mental illness, neglect, circumstance, and the wrong hotel at the wrong time. Maybe the world let her fall, and the internet caught her story, twisted it, shared it, never let go. Like the Cecil itself, a place where souls echo, and stories never die. Elisa Lam is gone, but the impact? Still rippling, like a scream echoing down an empty hallway. You think the story ends when they find the body? It doesn't. That's where the real fallout begins. The Cecil Hotel shuts its doors. Not right away, but eventually the weight becomes too much. Too much press. Too much darkness. Too many ghosts, real or imagined. The name Cecil becomes toxic. Tourists come just to take photos. Paranormal thrill seekers. TikTokers filming stairwells. People forget it's still a hotel. With tenants, families, people just trying to survive. The owners rebrand it. Call it Stay on Main. New paint. New sign. But the past still lingers in the pipes. Still sleeps in the walls. Still floats in the tank. The Lambs file a lawsuit. Wrongful death. Negligence. Failure to secure the premises. David and Elisa Lam sue the hotel. They say what everyone's thinking. Elisa should not have died. If the alarm had worked. If the roof was locked. If someone had checked on her. She might still be alive. The hotel fights back. Says it's not their fault. Says Elisa was unstable. But even if that's true, does that mean she didn't deserve protection? Did she not deserve help? They settle out of court. Quietly. No fanfare. No justice either. Just silence. Like the kind that filled that elevator. Staff members quit. Others stay silent. Some leave. Others refuse to talk. Too many questions. Too many nightmares. One former employee says, "We all knew something bad was coming. You could feel it." Another says, "That elevator footage? It still haunts me. I work those halls." No one ever truly answers the big questions. How did no one hear her? Why was she up there? Why didn't anyone act sooner? No one knows. Or no one's saying. Other guests develop PTSD. Yes, seriously. One guest says, "I drank that water. I brushed my teeth with it. I showered in it." Another says, "I can't stay in hotels anymore. I check every bathroom, every ceiling, every tank. Therapists confirm it. The discovery left emotional scars on dozens. And not just from what happened, but from what was allowed to happen. In a place that was supposed to be safe, tourists turned the Cecil into a circus. People take selfies outside the doors, pose near the elevator, tag it, hashtag haunted hotel, hashtag where Elisa disappeared, hashtag murder mystery vibes. They film TikToks, reenact the video, mock the R movements, pretend to press buttons, act possessed, for clicks, for views, for virality, and every time someone hits like, Elisa disappears again, but some try to honor her. Not everyone forgets. A few artists create murals, fans write poems, some donate to mental health organizations in her name. Others write essays about online empathy, about how we failed her. They try to make something good out of something unspeakably tragic. But even those efforts get drowned out by the noise, because mystery sells, and tragedy is content. Mental health advocates speak out. They say, this isn't just a true crime story, it's a system failure. It's about how society treats mental illness, about what happens when someone cries out and no one listens. They point to the gaps. Elisa was traveling while managing bipolar disorder. She may have been off her meds. She may have been spiraling. She needed help. But instead, she got ignored, moved to a solo room, and left alone. The signs were there, but the response wasn't. And for every Elisa, there are thousands more, still unheard, still lost, still climbing invisible rooftops. The internet moves on, but not really. The case stops trending. The tweets slow down. The YouTube algorithms find new victims. But every now and then, it resurfaces. A new documentary, a new TikTok theory, a new top 10 creepiest unsolved cases list. And there she is, again, frozen in that elevator, looking scared, looking for help, and still not getting it. The elevator video is now internet lore. Still online, still viral, still watched, over 100 million views on YouTube. It's been remixed, parroted, scored with horror music. It's part of the digital bloodline of creepypasta and urban legend. But that's the problem, because the more it's shared, the less human Elisa becomes. She becomes pixels, a moment, a mood, not a person. The Cecil reopens, sort of, renamed, renovated, rebranded for a new era. A boutique experience, modern rooms, new lobby, but some things can't be washed away. The elevator still groans, the pipes still creak, and people still ask for that room. They want to see the hallway, the elevator buttons, the view from the roof. They don't want peace, they want the feeling, that chill, that story, because the aftershocks are addictive. David and Elisa Lam tried to move on. They returned to Vancouver, to the house where Elisa used to text them goodnight, to the room that still holds her books, her journals, her postcards. They try not to look online. They try not to see what the world has done to her name. But every now and then, someone sends them a link, a theory, a video, a comment. They don't watch them, but they don't forget either, because for them, it never ended. It never will. What Elisa left behind, not a mystery, not a legend, not an unsolved case. She left behind a warning that people in pain can fall through the cracks, that places can carry darkness, that the internet doesn't know where the line is between truth and exploitation, and that the scariest part of Elisa Lam's story isn't the tank, or the roof, or the elevator. It's that she was crying out, and no one listened. Legacy. It started with a missing person flyer, a girl gone silent. No goodbye, no trace, just a face, Elisa Lam, posted across Los Angeles. And it ends with a legacy that's impossible to ignore. Because what happened in the Cecil Hotel didn't just change one family. It changed us. She was just a girl, a student, a daughter, a traveler, a writer. She had a Tumblr blog, Nouvelle/Nouveau. She posted about books, her struggles, her dreams, her battle with bipolar disorder. It was raw, real, human, a window into her mind. And if you read it, you'd see it. She was trying, fighting, trying to be okay, trying to stay afloat, trying to live. And that's what people forget. She wasn't a headline, or an algorithm, or a TikTok trend. She was a person. And her legacy starts with remembering that. The hotel that couldn't hide its past. The Cecil tried to erase her, change its name, wipe the tank, scrub the footage. But it didn't work. Because now, the world knows. It knows about the history, the suicides, the serial killers, the deaths, the darkness. The fact that a place like this was allowed to operate for decades without oversight, without reform, without accountability. Elisa's death forced a reckoning, forced questions no one wanted to ask. How many others were failed? How many were ignored? How many Elisa Lams are out there right now? And no one's looking? The internet never lets go. There are threads still running, subreddits, forums, Facebook groups, people still digging, still theorizing, still asking, what really happened to her? And the truth is, no one knows. We have facts, we have footage, we have an autopsy, but we don't have closure. That's why the case lives on. Because the line between reality and mystery is blurry. And Elisa exists right in the middle. The dark side of viral tragedy. Let's be honest, Elisa Lam's story went viral for all the wrong reasons. The creepy footage, the strange death, the haunted hotel. It was perfect clickbait, but in the process, her humanity got lost. She became a meme, a riddle, a game. And the worst part? People profited. True crime YouTubers, TV shows, podcasters, streaming giants. They turned her into content, into dollars, into episodes. And her parents? They just wanted answers. Instead, they got exploitation. But something else happened too. People started talking about mental health, about safety in hotels, about how police respond to disappearances, about how the system fails young women, especially those struggling silently. Advocates used her story to push for change, better protocols, more empathy, more protection. And though it came too late for Elisa, it wasn't for nothing, because now she's a symbol, not of mystery, but of awareness. Her Tumblr still exists. Yes, you can still find it, still read her thoughts, still see the quotes she loved, still feel her trying to hold on. She once wrote, "You're always haunted by the idea you're wasting your life." That line hits different now, because the haunting wasn't hers. It's ours, for not seeing her, for not saving her. Theories fade. The truth remains. People still ask, was she murdered? Was it foul play? Was it suicide? But those are just outcomes. The real question is, why didn't anyone help her before it got to that point? That's what matters. Because Elisa didn't have to die. Not on that roof. Not in that tank. Not alone. The Cecil story goes global. TV networks cash in. Netflix releases Crime Scene, The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel. Millions stream it. They binge the mystery. But not everyone is impressed. Critics say it's sensationalized. It loses sight of the victim. And they're right, because once again, Elisa becomes background noise to her own tragedy, a passenger in her own story. So, what is her legacy really? It's not just the elevator footage, or the headlines, or the conspiracy theories. Her legacy is the conversation she started about compassion, about protection, about the deep, painful silence of mental illness. She showed the world how easy it is to look fine on the outside and be unraveling inside, and how the world still doesn't know how to deal with that. A cautionary tale, a human story, a name that won't fade. Elisa Lam isn't a ghost. She's not folklore. She's not the girl in the elevator. She's a warning, a reflection, a heartbreak, and above all, she's a person, someone who mattered, someone whose life was more than how it ended. Her parents still remember. They keep her room just the way it was. They light candles. They pray. They remember the girl who used to send postcards from every city, the one who wanted to write. to travel, to see the world. And the world saw her. Too late. A final thought. We watch true crime because we want to understand darkness. But Elisa's story teaches us something deeper. Sometimes the darkness isn't evil. Sometimes it's silence, inaction, neglect, a locked door that no one checks, an alarm that no one hears, an empty hallway no one walks down, until it's too late. And that's the legacy. Not a mystery solved, not a case closed, but a reminder. Look deeper, listen harder, care more, because the next Elisa might still have time, if only someone's there to open the door. She wasn't just a mystery. Elisa Lam, not just a case file, not just a viral clip, not just the girl in the elevator. She was a daughter, a student, a soul full of questions, chasing answers. And now we're left with hers. We've walked the halls of the Cecil, watched that footage frame by frame, turned theories into threads, speculations into spirals. But in the end, no amount of evidence can explain the silence. No theory can fill the emptiness. No autopsy can bring peace. Because what happened to Elisa Lam shouldn't have happened at all. She needed help. She was asking for it. And no one listened. That's the real tragedy. The story doesn't end with a tank on a roof. It ends with us. With how we treat mental health. With how we protect the vulnerable. With how we look at strangers and ask, "Are you okay?" Elisa's legacy isn't a ghost story. It's a call to wake up. So, before you scroll past the next case, before you click for thrills or theories, remember this. Behind every headline is a human being. And behind every silence, a voice waiting to be heard. Elisa Lam, we won't forget you. Not now. Not ever. If this story moved you, didn't let it end here. Hit that like button. Drop your thoughts or theories in the comments. Share this video to keep her story alive. And subscribe for more real-life mysteries that deserve attention, just like this one. Because the truth doesn't hide in the dark. It's waiting to be uncovered. Final line soft and haunting. We are Unsolved Crime Stories. And this was the case of Elisa Lam.